All right, Facebook and LinkedIn and X and YouTube. Welcome to the show. I think I just got an error, though, from the Facebooks that one of the channels wasn't working, so I'm not sure which one, but hey, we're here. Anyway, we're just going to plow through on what's happening here with the new streaming discoveries that's going on with Facebook and with Ecamm and all that. Anyway, welcome to the show. It is June 25th, 2024. My name is Joey Ragona. I am here to talk about today the Victory Path, which is one of the frameworks that I love to use to help clients and you understand what it is that you need to create and to help in your marketing. It's got three areas to it that's going to give you some insight on how to talk about your program, and not just about the program, but because that's not what it is all about, right? If you talk about your program, nobody really cares about the program. What they care about is themselves and where you can get them to, and if you understand where they are at this point, and that's what the Victory Path is for. So if you're here live, thank you for being here live. Let me know by hitting a hashtag live or a hashtag replay if you're watching the replay, and if you're watching this on inside my Facebook group. Unfortunately, I can't see the comments because, again, streaming challenges here with Facebook. So if you're asking a question in Facebook, let me just see if I can go over here and try to figure this out. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to set up that video. Let's see. So we are live. Okay, so cool. I think I can see the comments. There we go. So I do see the comments now. Over in Facebook, I'll just be looking over that on my monitor. So if you are in the Facebook group, I will see your comments. Anywhere else, the comments should come through here inside Facebook or inside Ecamm. Okay, let's talk about the Victory Path. Let me show you what this is first, and then I'd love to have questions from you to see where it is that you're challenged on any of this, and so I can help you push through this, okay? Now, let's go to the iPad here. I'm going to give you the whole overview first, give you the picture of it. I know it's a lot to take in when you first see it, but it will make sense. And I got a couple of other things to show you here to simplify it here. But first, I want to show you what the Victory Path is all about. There's three major sections of the Victory Path, and it is the before. Let me just get my little highlighter thingy here. It is the before solution right here. Then it is during the solution, which actually comes last in your when you're figuring this out, and then the after solution. So these are the three areas. Now, when I'm working with anybody on figuring out what their marketing is, what they want to talk to, the market about, the before, so let me undo this. So the before solution and the after solution are the two main areas of focus. And then what you're doing here is you're figuring out what your clients are stuck through. I'm going to, again, let me undo this. So let's go look at the before solution here. Before the solution, you want to understand your clients in such a way where they feel as though you understand them better than anybody else. And this is why it's so important to have yourself inserted into conversations, into chats, into threads, into whatever it is where your clients are hanging out, and better if you have gathered a tribe. One of the biggest pillars I talk about, I have three pillars. The first one is to curate the tribe. And what that means is to gather a tribe or gather as many people that are within your dream client focus into an area that is safe for them. Facebook group, I'll just use it as an example. You bring them into your Facebook group and you can have conversations there continuously that are within your safe space. It's not to sell them stuff. Yes, every once in a while you're going to offer something to somebody, but that's not what it's for. The group for me is so I can continuously learn how people are reacting to things, what they're saying, how they're reacting to what's going on in the world, because marketing is always changing. You could have done market research a year ago, even 6 months ago, and you could have had the top 3 problems nailed, and then all of a sudden you're talking about those problems, but they no longer resonate. And you're wondering, okay, why is nobody opting in, or why aren't things not working anymore? Why aren't anybody buying? It's because you're not connected to the audience. You're not finding, or you're not understanding how the world or the things that are going on around them are really affecting them. One of the big things, I'll give you an example of this. One of the biggest things that I've discovered within this, the last 3 months, maybe 3 to 6 months, is that overwhelm has run rampant. I mean, it's always been there. It will always be there. If you ask anybody who's in the online space, what's happening, what are your frustrations, some form of overwhelm will come up, whether they use that word or not. However, and it's always been a problem, but it's not been like the number one problem for me, but it is now. And it's because of so many factors. It's AI. It is tens of thousands of coaches coming online who are doing the same thing and saying the same thing. So you're competing with all these things, getting yourself online with, landing pages, sales pages, funnels, and all these other things. Like everything tech is like overwhelmingly now like 100,000 times more worse than it was. And it has a lot. I mean, I don't know what the exact reasons are, but more and more people are feeling that overwhelm more than ever. So that has to be addressed in my marketing, has to be addressed in what I'm talking about. And if you're not boots to the ground, if you're not inside conversations, when you have your tribe, you won't know what's going on, and you're going to be marketing to crickets. Nothing's going to happen. So it's always about curating the tribe. Number two pillar is by serving, not selling. And serving is simply what's happening right here. Like serving, like give people reasons to trust you, reasons to bond. Give them what your frameworks are, your IPs. Tell them how to move to the next step. That's serving. And when you serve, when you come from a place of serving and everybody can feel that, then naturally sales will come. Not maybe from that person you may have served right then and there on a clarity call or something. If you want to look at it from an ROI standpoint, I get into those conversations all the time. If you have an attachment to everything that you do and expecting an ROI from it, that's not serving. It's expectation. And when you serve, you're not expecting anything. You're hoping and you're to move the relationship forward, and you're hoping that person will eventually choose to become a client, but that's not the expectation of it. It's hoping that in the experience of working with you and your serve, that they will eventually make that choice. And so you get away from that attachment. And then number 3, which is respect their timeline. I think that's the most important thing, because when you have that expectation of like, hey, I went on Facebook Live and for an hour and I didn't get any sales, like that's an expectation. But if you do it, if you serve and you respect someone's timeline, then it is up to them when they decide, when they want to become a client of yours, when they want to insert the thing that you've been telling them. And so that's what the victory path is about. The victory path is understanding the client. It's understanding them, where they're going through. And so that's why you have this, where are they stuck? What are they going through right now? And this can change, because this is not one thing that you're doing and set it and forget it. So what are they stuck on right now? What are they going through in their life? And then you want to know what need, desire that they want, what do they want to have, who do they want to become, those type of things. You want to understand also how they feel. And I think feel is probably the most important of any situation, because when we're talking about words and we're trying to describe things to people, we're using a lot of logic and trying to get them to logically understand us or logically make a sale or whatever that looks like. When you can tap into someone's feelings and understand how they feel, it's a whole lot easier for them to make a choice to work with you. Yes, logic comes into play, all the things that we're going to talk about, but it's more about, well, how does that make you feel? Or how is that, what's the feeling around this? And then as the other part of this, the first part here is, what do they believe? Because there's always a belief. There's always a belief when someone is making a choice. You believe something right now about anything that you are going to purchase or thinking about purchasing. You have a belief. You have maybe a belief about, let's say you're looking at a coach right now or a program. You have a certain belief about that coach, that program. You also have a belief about you and your ability or what you are willing to do, not willing to do. There's a belief or a belief around that how much money you could make or how many sales, whatever it is, you have a belief, right? We all have these beliefs. And to understand this, you have to understand, to help them move forward in your path, you have to understand what their beliefs are. Now, I'm going to come back to this, but I want to share with you like a very simple way of looking at this, because I know there's a lot here and we will come back to this. But I want to share with you one of the simpler ways of starting this. And I call this the victory story. Okay, so the victory story is, let me just zoom in a little bit here like this so we can see the whole thing. See that? Okay, cool. So like the victory story is the first 2 points that you want to understand. And this is where, if you're starting out, and even if you're not starting out, even if you want to revamp what you're doing in your marketing, I would start with the victory path or the victory story. I get a different color here. Great. So the victory story is where they're coming from and where they want to go to. There's a transformation in the middle, which is your product, program. Okay. But this is what you want to answer. You want to answer, my dream client is starting from, is feeling, my dream client wants this or needs this. And it could be anything. And this is what you want to figure out. And you want to be very precise on all this stuff. Go deep. Go deeper than anybody else, because an hour of market research or a couple of hours of market research is better than nothing. But when you spend and become obsessed with market research, and I hate to call it research, but more involved in the customer's life, in their journey, these scenarios and these questions will come to you naturally, because they're always in conversation, and you'll start to pick up clues that you can easily fill out on what I'm sharing with you here, the victory story. So you can easily figure out, what do they want, what are they starting from, where are they coming from, and then where do they want to go, which is obviously the opposite of things, but you want to know, like, how are they going to feel? My dream client now has this new thing. They feel this way. They understand this certain thing. So I would work on the victory story first, so that it's where you or your client, let's say your client can say, well, when I met Joey, or when I took Atlas, I was feeling this way. I didn't have clients or whatever it is, and I was working overtime. I was working 80 hours a week, and now I have my life back. I bought back 96% of my time. What else is there? I feel calm. I'm not overwhelmed anymore. You see, those are the things that you want your clients to be telling other people when they say, what was Atlas all about? Or what was that program all about? The program has nothing. It's not like, well, it was 8 weeks and we met every Thursday and we didn't, like, that doesn't matter to people. What matters to people is here's where I was and here's where I am now. And that's the biggest piece of it. Now, if we go back to the victory story, or to the victory path, I should say, let's move up here. This is what I was just saying to you, right? So if we go here and we say, okay, so they were, before the solution, they were here. And now we want them to say, again, this is what I've achieved. This is what I've eliminated, which for me, example would be all the overwhelm, all the funnels, all of the time sacrifice that people are putting in building things. That's what they've eliminated. And they obviously feel a different way. For me, again, it's about feeling calmer, feeling more confident in themselves, where over here, they did not feel confident. And they felt overwhelmed. They felt pressured. They felt time crunched. And over here, they don't feel it for me. So then what did they believe? They believe maybe now that, for me, example, it could be that they can easily get more clients without spending more time online. They maybe cracked the code. Let me just see here. They, cracked the code, cracked the sales code for them. Okay. And that might only be like one sale. It might be, two sales, but now that they feel confident and believe that, oh, wow, I've cracked the sales code. Now maybe I can get 100 sales in the year. Whatever it is, you want to know what they believe and where they are. Okay, so I got Collie. Oh, thanks, Collie. I got a question over here. Okay, so grateful finishing up the contract today. Now able to finish the Atlas cohort. Thank you for that. And we'll add a comment on my last comment on Friday. Okay, so just updating. Thank you. Save me so much overwhelm. So grateful to be a part of your tribe. Thank you very much, Collie. I wish I could share that in here. I have to copy and paste. So I don't want to, that would take up a little bit more time. I got to figure out a way to get the Facebook comments into Ecamm over here. But thank you, Collie. I appreciate you. Thank you. Okay, so back to this. This is where, okay, so if you have a question, by the way, on the victory path, let me know, because I know I'm going through this really quickly. These are the two major pieces. Now, I want to point you to this other area, which is the victory scenario. I like to start off with simplicity. And when you look at this, again, if you look at this as an overall picture, you're like, wow, that's a lot. It's kind of overwhelming. And the last thing I want to do right away is to overwhelm anybody. So start with the simplicity of this. Even when I'm teaching clients and they see this and they're like, well, what's the middle piece look like? What are the milestones? Like all these things here in the middle, right? Like what is all of this stuff? Like, don't worry about it right now, because all we're trying to figure out is the first part, which is this here, the first part, and this part, and maybe this one here is really important, right? So how do they feel? As you can see, I'm using the word feel a lot when they what your solution. And then you'll also see here that, let me just get my little eraser here because it's going to get pretty messy. Let me erase that. Okay. You're going to see here that they feel something when they either, let me just, finish my solution, because is the big part there. And if you don't know how to answer this, that's a clue. It's a clue that you may not know your client as well as you think you know your clients. And so you want to know why they feel awesome. They love how it feels when they finish the program, when they start the program, when they, whatever it is. If you don't know how to answer that question, it means you have to go back to the marketplace. You have to get involved in the conversations. And it's not necessarily that you're asking them, well, how would you feel if you did this? Because here's the problem. We are in the oasis, which is what I call the after, this part here. This is the oasis. Okay? We are here. We already know what that feels like. And it's impossible for our dream clients to understand what that feels like, no matter how much we tell them what it's like. We can be great at articulating and painting the picture and the dream message and painting the picture in their mind, but they will never know what it feels like. It's impossible. It's like the same thing as if you try to teach somebody how to ride a bike. They can see how to ride the bike. You can say, this feels awesome. I like the way that the wind feels when it's going through my ear, but they will never understand it until they get on the bike and actually start pedaling, right? They will never understand that. They will conceptually understand it. And that's the problem with most marketing, because most marketing, they talk a lot about, let me get my other pencil here, right? They talk a lot about this. You're going to feel this way. You're going to believe this. You're going to eliminate all this. But they have no idea. Your clients have no idea what it's going to feel like. That is why there's differences between each scenario. And their beliefs and feelings will change throughout the course of it, okay? This is where you have this area here. That's another small little visual representation of what you're doing. The victory path. By the way, if you have any questions, let me know. Just put them into the chat. I can see the ones in the Facebook group. I can't see anything else. Maybe if you're on YouTube, I can probably see those coming through. Don't know which one of the channels has broken because I got a message coming up here. But hey, we'll play it we'll play it as it goes. So the victory path here is in the middle. This is the victory path, truthfully. And if you look up here, this is what we're talking about during the solution. So I know that this whole thing is a victory path, but really we're starting from the crisis, which again is right here, right? If you look at it, it's the solution. And then you have the oasis, which is the after. And that is connected to this. And the victory path is the milestones that your dream clients need. These are the things that they need to reach. And that's where your program comes in. However, this is where the transformation happens, but it's a little bit more difficult just to try to guess this. And where I find a lot of problems is that a lot of people try to start out, let me get rid of this, get rid of that. Okay. They try to start out in this area here. And they build a program. And they're coming up with, the milestones. You're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. And I get it that if you've been training for a while, if you know your stuff, that you probably do know a lot of what people need to do to get over that path. The 3 or 4 milestones, 5 milestones that they need to do to go from crisis to oasis, right? But what you're going to discover is when you work and co-create with people. Let me get rid of this. When you co-create, then you will learn what they need to learn, what they need to discover, what they need to avoid and eliminate. Because all you're doing is when you first start your program, it's a guess. It's a guess of, these are the things that I think that they need to learn. And I've learned this process by doing this since 2020. And have simplified everything to these processes to help you understand it as well. If you work with 2 or 3 people at a time, 5 people, 10 people, maybe in a group, small groups at a time, they will tell you and give you the information you're looking for here. This is the reason why I'm talking about boots on the ground. This is the reason I'm talking about having deep conversations or being inside conversations every day. So you're picking up the clues for these areas, like this here. Right? So this area, you're picking up clues on what they need to accomplish. You're also looking for, how do they feel during this process? Because during the process of whatever you're teaching, they're going to come into different feelings, and you have to understand what those feelings are. You don't necessarily need to talk to them, but you have to understand how they're going to feel as they go through the change, because the transformation from anything is usually a painful thing. Because people don't want to move out of their comfort zone, what they're used to doing. So there's some kind of pain attached to that, and you have to understand what that is. Now, personally, I talk a lot about that when somebody joins the program, even before that. So they're joining Atlas, I'm going to say, this is what I think you feel. And then when they join Atlas inside of it, and even when I'm starting it, I'm saying, this is how you're going to, I believe you're going to feel. I don't tell them they're going to feel this way, but I say, this is what I've noticed in the past, just so they're aware of it, so that when they hit those snags, that they don't give up on themselves. Because if you go back to this, right, there is a huge part of this in the middle piece that they need to believe. Oops. Go here. That they need to believe. If you don't have this area, right, if you don't understand what they need to believe, there's going to be a challenge, because it's not just the milestones. It's not just these guys, but they need to believe in something. They need to believe in, let's just call it, they need to believe in you, themselves. They need to believe in the process. I can't tell you, let me talk about that one for a second. So, and for me, the process is, like Atlas is an 8-week program. So there's a process to it. And I've been asked a few times, why don't you just give me all the stuff? Like, I'm a learner. I just go through it, and then I'll be much more, that's just the way I learn. I'm a fast learner. I'm a fast starter. And I'm exactly the same way. Like, I hate when I can't get the stuff like right away. And I've learned that in my program, I've tried it before, that I've given the entire Atlas thing away. Here's the 8 weeks, whatever. And what'll happen is people skip to certain areas. At least for me. I don't know about you, but for me, that's what it is. So I have to make them believe in my process. And it's not easy to do, because when you get a self-starter or someone who is, I shouldn't say impatient, but more, they're eager, right? They just want to go. Give me the information and let me go. And I'm pulling them back. That's an obstacle, but I have to be able to help them believe in that process. And I can tell you that 100% of the time so far, everyone that has asked me to move the needle or release the content and let them have free reign has always come back and said, I understand exactly why you did that now. Thank you for holding me back. And so this is what I mean by understanding who your clients are, what their snags are going to be, and then addressing them in every single part of the process. Because there's a belief before, oops, I shouldn't do that. There's a belief before, there's a belief during, and then there's a belief after. The belief after, okay, here's what you're going to believe. That's pretty easy. It's the during process that is the most challenging for all of us. And that's the reason why, I advise you to do that last and even not even attempt it, right? Just have a very loose outline of what that victory path looks like what the bridge looks like. And so even if you look at the analogy of the bridge, instead of building the entire bridge, you build the frame, right? Like just maybe the frame and maybe a couple of planks, but there's no railing, there's no finish to it or anything like that. And you're like, I'll build it with you, right? So if you try to build the frame or the whole thing, you may get the bridge the wrong way, the wrong thing, which is this guy up here, right? So that's the analogy. So there you go. That is the victory path in its entirety. I mean, there's a lot we can talk about here. If you have any questions around it, let me know. Drop them into the comments. I will see them. I will answer them. And I would start here. If you're brand new to this, start only with where are they coming from? Here, I'll just erase this again so you can see that. Okay, right here. Where is your dream client coming from? Where are they starting? How do they feel? What do they want? What are their needs? What is their situation? And the transformation is where they're going to go. Now they feel, they are something, they understand something. What are those things? If you focus just on those two, I promise you, your marketing will be so much easier because you're focusing on them, on what they want, where the situation is, and not about your program. Because if you look back at this, like this is the program, right? I'm going to sell you this program, but that's not where we concentrate. If you eliminated this, you don't need it, and just talked about the from and the to, then your marketing and your sales would be a whole lot easier. There you go. That's the victory path. Thank you for being here for another Marketing Made Easy. My name is Joey Ragona. Glad that you were here. And by the way, just before you go, if you're not in my Facebook group, let me just put that in there. And I wonder if I could, see here. Doesn't look like it's working. Okay, well, so I thought it was. Anyway, no, my short code's not working. All right, maybe next time. Or just pick me here and ask me where the Facebook group is, and I will definitely allow you to come into that group and join us there for the conversation that we have. Thank you for being here. Have yourself another awesome Tuesday night. We'll see you next Tuesday for another heart-centered marketing. Take care.